Hello, everybody, and welcome to another week of the Frenzy Extra. I'm Andy Lacombe. We're coming to you this week from Shrewsbury, where the St. John's Pioneers, the #1 team in Central Mass, is preparing for our game of the week when they take on a top 5 opponent in Shepherd Hill. Much more on these guys and the opponent in just a little bit. But first, we start out in Oxford, where the Pirates may be a surprise to some. 5-0. Oxford coming a long way from just last year and a few years ago when they only had 20 kids in camp. Now more than 50 guys on the roster, and the Pirates happy to be turning things around.
Every week I look to get better, and like I said, Prouty is a big-time passing team. You know, we're definitely we're doing defense today. We're working on defensive backfield. We're putting a couple different defenses in for them. And we just got to play our football game, play Pirate football.
We're going to have to play very well, defensively against the pass. We haven't been doing that very well. We've been stopping runs, but when teams pass on us, we've been having a hard time. So that's something we're going to have to do well against them with their quarterback, Braden Wood, who can pass, and Nick McNamara. They can catch, so we're going to have to defend that.
Defensively and offensively, we have to protect Joel. Offensively, defensively, we have to get in the backfield. We have to stop them. We have to make sure that Braden Wood can't throw the ball.
D-line penetration, just make sure they don't get passes on. That's it. Just focus.
We got to have good pass coverage this week and keep our offense going.
We know they're competitors. We know they like to throw the ball a lot. We think we match up pretty well. I think our defensive backfield matches up pretty good. And, just being out there, and I see what the new coach, Pat Rossi's done with them, and, it's pretty impressive.
Well, there's no question St. John's has been impressive so far this season. The Pioneers are undefeated. They seem to be unstoppable. Their coaches, though, preaching to them that they haven't accomplished anything yet, and the only thing that matters is the opponent on the schedule this week.
They're a really physical team, so we just got to come out, prepare this week, and be more physical than they are on Saturday.
As Steve said, one of the biggest keys is definitely be more physical than they are. Ends contain and fill all their gaps.
Leominster a couple of weeks ago, Wachusett, Shrewsbury, all on the road. You're back at home at Shepherd Hill. It's like a top 10 matchup every week. Gearing up for that, it's almost like a playoff game every week.
I think it definitely pushes us to play better. We like it that way. We like it with the target on our back, so it should be fun.
Coach said what happened in September doesn't really matter. We're just looking forward to the rest of the season.
We're going to do what we've been doing the past 5 weeks, more than that, 7 weeks. Just coming in, preparing hard, meeting in the film room, just coming out and playing hard.
We definitely feel like we're competing for #1 this week. It's going to be a huge game, Pioneer Fest. It's a big festival. Everyone's here, and we're excited to play.
All right, this week for St. John's, playing Shepherd Hill will essentially be the 4th straight week where they're playing a ranked opponent or a powerhouse program in Central Massachusetts. And for Shepherd Hill, they're getting more and more comfortable. They got a big win over Wachusett, and as our Brenna Wilson found out, the Rams now very much at home, playing in the area's top division.
Midway through the season, the Shepherd Hill Rams find themselves in the middle of a playoff race. The Rams play in a division loaded with talent, and they know each game, each week is important.
Every second of every day, we have to be thinking about how we're getting better. There's no point at any point in the season, or even in the off season for that matter, where we think we can take a quote-unquote break.
It's definitely hard, but we love the challenge. We were very proud to play in this division. We worked very hard, and definitely think we can beat whoever we have to play against.
I think it's a lot more enjoyable to work harder to get the win.
The Rams are 4-1. Their only loss coming in a close one against Shrewsbury to start the year. They now have what may be their biggest challenge against an undefeated St. John's team.
When you play a team of St. John's caliber, you're not going to be able to match up with them player for player. They've got great players. They've got great talent. They're good at every position. So what we have to do is we have to do what we do. We have to go up there and try to establish our game and just play our game. And at the end, we'll count the score, and whatever the score is, that is what it is.
In their 3rd season playing in the top division in Central Mass, the Rams are proving they can play with anyone. This week, they're coming off a program win against Wachusett.
Wachusett's a great team, very well coached, always one of the top teams in Central Mass. We told the kids it was a measuring stick game. Anytime you're able to beat Wachusett in any given year, you have a good team, and that's a huge win.
It's definitely a huge morale boost. We've been working really hard all season, even before the season, starting beginning of summer. It just definitely shows how good we can be and what we need to do to be that good.
St. John's and Shepherd Hill are putting up a lot of points on opponents each week. The difference is how they get there. The Rams plan on playing their football and are prepared to play tough to get the win on Saturday.
We two very different football teams. We got to play Shepherd Hill football, be violent, fast, and do our thing.
I believe that it's a great test for our program and a great test for our coaches and players. But by no means are we going up there expecting anything but a hard-fought game.
We have to work together, work as a team, just go up there and hit them as hard as we can and just play Shepherd Hill football. We're prepared. We're ready.
Brenna Wilson, the Frenzy Extra.
Thank you, Brenna. This is our game of the week. Shepherd Hill and St. John's from Pioneer Field. You can see the game on Charter TV3 on delay at 7 p.m. In addition to Shepherd Hill St. John's, some key games here in Week 6 that we'll be covering for you on the Frenzy. Shrewsbury travels out to Algonquin. It's a rivalry contest. Leominster trying to break the schneid. They go on the road for the first time to take on Wachusett. Northbridge and Auburn, a big one at the launching pad. The Rockets trying to rebound after a loss. Uxbridge going to Grafton, seeing if they can put their offense up against a potent Grafton defense. And Oxford, with their undefeated record on the line, going to David Prouty to take on the upstart Panthers. See these games and more Friday night on the Frenzy, 10:25 on Charter TV3. Time for a quick break. When we come back, we go inside the studio with Kevin Shea and Jim Wilson as they break down even more the big games of Week 6.
Bay State Savings Bank brings you Kasasa. What's Kasasa? It's a catchy word for earning cash that just might make you want to dance. Get paid for doing simple things you do anyway. That's free Kasasa checking.
Ask for Kasasa by name at Bay State Savings Bank, proud sponsor of the Friday Night Football Frenzy.
Welcome back, everyone. Kevin Shea with Jim Wilson, the sports editor for the Telegram and Gazette. And really a lot to talk about this week. We got to go back to the game of the year so far, at least in terms of you have number one, number two. We've had some great games, some overtime games this year, some thrillers, some last-second wins. But you get number one, number two this late in the season. St. John's, Shrewsbury, it didn't disappoint. It was a battle for Shrewsbury. This was awesome.
You know what? This is what people were thinking that St. John's Wachusett would be the week before. But Shrewsbury, they had the horses. They were there to the very end. I mean, you call it a loss for Shrewsbury, but it's not. I mean, it's mentally they're right there. I can't wait for the rematch. It's going to happen. I mean, these are the two best teams in Division III. These guys got to go. Do it again.
The Central Mass Super Bowl.
Central Mass Super Bowl. Let's line it up. Let's start the tickets now. It's like Star Wars all over again.
Well, there will be a huge line because they did the Colonial Way, like the Red Sox have the Yawkey Way. It was phenomenal. They had Colonial Way behind the school. They had 1,000 kids behind the school for this one, probably 2,000, over 2,000 in the park for this game. And when one of the things that jumps out, fourth quarter, Shrewsbury's driving. They're down by 5. They get it first and goal at the 5. Then they move it up to the 2 on a run. So now it's second and goal from the 2. St. John's holds. And then third down, St. John's gets an intentional grounding penalty because of all the pressure they put on Campanelli. And then they get the interception in the end zone. If Shrewsbury scores on that, they go ahead in the game. St. John's gets the ball back. Methodical drive. Pound, 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 pound. They're going 5 yards off tackle, 5 yards off tackle. They bring in Eamon Dennis, the Rocket, run him off tackle, and he's gone. Close to 50 yards for the house. But it was a phenomenal game. What you see is, we've talked about it all year long. Eamon Dennis, there's no equal to Eamon Dennis in Central Mass, probably in Eastern Mass. He had another 95-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. He had the long run for a touchdown. He's a difference maker. Anytime you get it in his hands, he is lightning.
Ricky Ismail.
Yes, that's
the
it.
Rocket.
That is the Rocket. Hello, Heisman.
That's right.
And that's it, right off.
90s football references out of the way. We're good. Ask your older brothers, kids.
Steve Bachalia again. But like when you look at the highlights of this game, the ball he throws, we talk about it every week. It's like we're a broken record here. He throws such a pretty ball, a deep ball. And Coleman Drugach, I gotta talk about him a little bit because he makes great catches. Like, I mean, it's one thing, quarterback has to drop it right down. And this time too, Shrewsbury, there was probably 4 passes.
Right.
We're on the sideline. Me, Tom Flanagan's writing the story for you guys. And we're saying, you can't cover him any better than that guy covered him for Shrewsbury. But Bachalia drops it right over the top of the defender, and Drugach catches it with a defender on his shoulder. Not everyone can make that catch. No. Sometimes Dove, sometimes right here. St. John's has a lot of weapons. But everyone seems to make big plays at big times. They don't have drops at big times. They don't have fumbles at big times. Because honestly, defensively, on most every one of those deep balls, you could not have defended any better.
No, Oliver was out, so a lot of that pressure goes on to them, and so it's literally, even though you have Dennis in the backfield, you're still thinking they're going to be pass first. With Oliver out with the injury,
yeah,
they're going to go. It's pretty no secret what they're going to try to do. You throw for 400 yards against Shrewsbury, that's impressive. I don't care.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care what it is. I mean, he's doing most of his heavy lifting by halftime, giving the team a comfortable lead they can work with. I mean, with that defense that St. John's has, they can look what happened when Ben came to the end of the game. Owen Ryan comes up with that big pick.
Right.
It's a different, it's all of a sudden now it's deflating that big crowd at Shrewsbury, and here they come back with a backbreaking drive to steal the game.
Yeah, incredible. And it's a lighter defensive line. The interior of the defensive line for St. John's, it's not these big behemoths we've seen before. Kids that are 260, 280. It's a lighter defensive front. So these guys are quick. They're scheming really well. They're going to gaps. They're freeing up their linebackers, and their two inside linebackers are making a lot of stops defensively. They fly to the football, and then their defensive backs are great. They can cover man, and when you can cover guys man-to-man coverage, then it opens up a ton for what you can do, and that's what St. John's can do with anyone. They can run man. They can put 4 defensive backs on your 4 receivers, man coverage, and not worry about a thing. Now you can do some things with the other 7 defensive players.
Because that defensive line is getting there. They're not letting that offensive line of the tight ends get to that second level.
Right.
And they're freeing up the linebackers to do some damage. They don't care. So what? We'll let you have your 5 or 6 sacks per game.
Right.
They're just creating havoc. That's all that matters for these guys.
And you look at the other side of the ball too, and this is one of the things that allows Steve Biceglia to hit these long passes. He doesn't get pressured. He's back there. He's calm. He's cool. But he'll go through his reads, and he can lock his feet in cement. He does not get pressured. He just hangs right in the pocket, waits, knows where his guys are going to be. And what I love is that he's throwing to 4 and 5 different receivers. It's not like, okay, well, he has this one favorite receiver. They've been playing since they were in 3rd grade together. He can close his eyes. He knows where the guy's going to be on the field. This is 4 and 5 different guys. Everyone runs a little different. They run routes a little differently. Their speeds a little differently.
Right.
He still puts the ball exactly where it has to be for all of these different guys.
Exactly. That's why they're dangerous, because you can't really key on the one. It wasn't like with Light and Rogers and those guys.
Yep.
Well, try to stop Richard Rogers and see and good luck with that. But like you said, he's got 4 or 5. He can break down his reads, and he would get third and fourth reads just as dangerous. I mean, those guys would be first reads in any of the team.
Right, exactly. And then Drew Campanelli, the quarterback for Shrewsbury. You and I were just talking about this before, but he, for me, is the toughest quarterback in Central Mass. I think he could be pound for pound the toughest player in Central Mass. I've loved watching him the last 2 weeks. Watch him against Leominster, watch him against St. John's. He is a quarterback that when he gets out, whether he's running the option or it's a sweep, a bootleg, or even when he runs the quarterback sneak, which he runs a lot too, he wants to run people over. He's never sliding. He's never looking to get out of bounds. He's looking to deliver the blow, and I love that mentality in a quarterback. You remember as an old offensive lineman how much that picks your whole team up. When you see your quarterback run over a linebacker, run over a defensive back, everyone gets energized.
You want that big hit sticker at the end of the game. You want that Monday practice, get your helmet decorated.
And when your quarterback is getting that big hit sticker, everyone's kind of pumped up and jacked up. He's that kind of kid. And then, just the toughness, but then he's got a great arm.
Right.
He's talented. He's poised. He's only a junior. He throws a very good ball as well. He's a leader. I love Drew Campanelli as a leader. And again, pound for pound, my toughest player in Central Mass. Love watching him play.
He's fantastic. Like I said, if it wasn't for Biceglia, I'd be a lot more people would be talking about him because he threw for almost 300 yards again too.
I know.
So, I mean, that's right there against that defense. It's nothing to. He's been a leader. He took him to the Gillette last year. He's got a good chance to do it again this year.
He threw for 2 touchdowns. He ran for a touchdown as well. Just incredible. So now we're looking at one of the other great games of last week, and that was Shepherd Hill and Wachusett going into overtime. Wachusett going for 2 in the win, which I love. You and I talked about it. Love coaches going for the win, not doing the old Pat Dye in Auburn. They used to call him Pat Ty. Auburn University, that is, not Auburn the high school, but Auburn, again, in our 80s references, who always used to go for the tie. But I love going for the win, and that's a huge win, though, for Shepherd Hill. Shepherd Hill has scored 102 points in the last 2 weeks. That's against Algonquin, and that's against Wachusett, 2 real good teams. You put up those kind of numbers, that's eye-opening.
they've given up 76.
That's true. So it's
kind of you got to worry about that.
If you want to win,
if you want to be in a rock fight,
2-0, you better score 102.
You're playing bad out there. You're trying just let them score, get the ball back quicker.
Yep.
And so that's, I mean, with the schedule they play, they got to tone that down. I mean, it's fine if they can score the 50 points per game. Any offensive player loves that, but it's at some point that's going to come back to hurt them, and they have to stop the other team getting the end zone too.
Right. One of the things, and a player for Wachusett that I want to mention is Melky Szabo, their quarterback. He's been playing great too, and again, they've had a couple tough losses. Tough loss to St. John's, tough loss last week to Shepherd Hill in overtime. Melky Szabo, the quarterback, he's a leader too, and you talk about genes and athletic genes and family genes, I love it. His father played football at South. His uncle played football at South. They were on the same team that won a Super Bowl. They won a Central Mass Super Bowl. His uncle was the kicker, kicked a field goal to beat Doherty in the regular season, then kicked the winner. They beat Shepherd Hill in the Super Bowl. His uncle kicked the field goal. It was 3-0. That was the win for South High School. So his uncle and his father both played on that team. Both were Super Bowl champs. So I love Melky Szabo kind of carrying that family tradition on and playing great Central Mass football.
As a quarterback at Wachusett, throws the ball, which is like seeing a unicorn.
Exactly right. That's seeing the white tiger, out there. But they're throwing it. He had 4 touchdown passes.
You gotta love it. Hey, do whatever works.
That's
what everybody goes. Wachusett maybe the reputation of running the ball, but the Dovzinski and his staff, they know what they have. They got to go to the dance with.
Yep.
So I mean, if the guys got a Szabo who can swing the ball, a couple good receivers to make plays. That's what's working. They almost upset Shepherd Hill.
Yeah, I know.
And Wachusett's still in good shape.
Yeah.
I love Division III this year because it's not, even with St. John's being this monster.
Right.
Shrewsbury proved that they, on the good day, if that pass at 4th down falls in the receiver's arms, it could be a different game.
Up, right.
They're not killing teams. It's not the no doubt tour quite yet.
Right.
So I mean, seeing that, just get them vulnerable. Anything can happen in that playoffs. I mean, look, a couple years ago, Fitchburg went to the playoffs, and everybody wrote them off early.
Right, and then they hit their stride at the right time.
Shrewsbury last year, they were up and down all year. They got hurt the playoffs.
Yep.
So who knows? It's a long month. Oliver's already gone.
I was going to say that's a big thing. You mentioned that too. Peter Oliver is a Division I running back. So now you have a Division I running back out. That's a big loss.
Right.
That's a huge loss because that's a kid that he was a difference maker. He was a game changer. So now again, to do it week in and week out without him. Right. It's going to be tough. It is. It's
the schedule they play, it's going to be tough.
That's
what's so. I mean, when they come down, everybody's counting these power ranking points. They'll be on the website soon. I promise.
Everyone wants Willie's number. We will not give it out as a scroll underneath.
Tweet me. I got you.
But yeah, you can tweet him. And
get them all.
He'll get back to you because we are going to do the power rankings. He's getting into them this week, and they're going to get into some things. But Shepherd Hill is a team. I think just Ryan Dugan has done a phenomenal job with that team because this is a young football team. They graduated, especially over the last 2 years, but last year they graduated so many players. You're talking starting 3 sophomores on the offensive line. Sophomores, generally speaking, don't belong starting on the offensive line at varsity football, but just because physically you're not mature enough to handle it. You're going to go up against seniors who are 2 years older than you, probably 40 pounds heavier, a lot stronger, and just even the self-confidence. They're doing it. They're winning. They're winning with sophomore running backs. Last week against Wachusett, they lose 2 running backs against Wachusett and still win the game. And Mick Sullivan, when you talk about leaders, this is a kid who has bled maroon and gold since he was a little kid. Always wanted to play for Shepherd Hill. Had helmet stickers hidden behind the drapes on his window in his bedroom. That's how much he grew up wanting to play for Shepherd Hill. So I love that tradition that he's the quarterback. He's playing. He threw a couple touchdown passes last week in that game against Wachusett. So Shepherd Hill again has the reputation, double wing offense. They're just going to run. They're just going to pound it. But when you start creeping 8, 9 guys, 10 guys in the box, they'll dump it right over the top of you. Sullivan's got a great arm and an accurate arm, and it's enough to keep the linebackers and the safeties back and make that running game more effective, especially
that's when they've shown. That's when
Nate Cooper, the new running back. You know, the new name.
That's when they've shown they've been dangerous the last couple of years, like Juji Jam and all those guys. They have a dangerous quarterback. You can't ignore him. That's when Shepherd Hill's going to put the points on the board.
Right, and that's what they have this year. So it brings us to this week's game.
Huge
St.
game.
John's, Shepherd Hill at St. John's. This is going to be huge. We're broadcasting the game on TV on Saturday. It'll be broadcast Saturday night at 7 p.m. I'm looking forward to this because this is, like you said, each and every week, St. John's has had now the last 3 weeks, you're talking about a huge rivalry with Wachusett. Huge, maybe even a bigger rivalry with Shrewsbury. And now you go in and you're playing a Shepherd Hill team that is so physical, so tough. It's going to be their Super Bowl too, even though, again, these same two teams could meet, 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now in the playoffs.
No rest for these guys. I mean, I love the schedule they play because they don't have that take a breath game. They
Right.
can sort of, okay, we'll have our sophomores in at halftime,
Right.
see where it goes. They're going right into the fire with Shepherd Hill. And again, we just talked about what they've done in offense and defense. It's two different things for what St. John's has to worry about. I mean,
Yep.
could they put the points up against that Shepherd Hill defense? They're looking at it on paper saying, well, we should have no problem. If Algonquin can do it, if Wachusett can do it, we should, but I think, that coaching staff at Shepherd Hill, they've been watching tape. They watch their huddle. They know what happens. They know they're going to tighten some stuff up because they know what St. John's is seeing.
Right.
They know what they're looking at. They're looking at on tape, seeing, okay, what happened in this play? Oh, the cornerback didn't get over in time. The linebacker didn't cover this guy. They're fixing these things.
Right.
So it's not like St. John's going to see these games and say, okay, we're going to do this, and this play's going to run for 20 yards.
Right.
So I think having seen that, but St. John's at the same time looking at that offense and seeing how they can sort of slow that
Right.
down.
How can and remember
They
St.
have
John's
they have the weapons.
They were scrimmaging double wing teams the last
Right.
couple years just in the preseason, just so they could get to see that double wing offense because it's now a little bit more familiar than it was a couple years ago. But it's a different wrinkle. You don't
can't do
see
it.
it.
You can't do double wing on tape.
No.
You got to sort of have to
and
feel.
you can't have your scout team.
No.
They
'Cause they're not
can't
gonna know what to do.
replicate it they're not as good as it. And you got to be discipline based. You got to win that battle up front on the line. And then if you can do that and you can hold your gaps, you can hold your spots and let your linebackers go and read their keys, then you can try to
say
but
what you
again,
want. I mean, the double wing the last couple of years has been under slings and arrows. You're not going to, D1 coaches aren't going to look at you, and Shepherd Hill's proven that wrong the last couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've been an advocate since Pucko had a Gwenigo and Price and
Yes.
Ryan Brown and those guys in the backfield. I think that's a great offense. I think it's perfect for a smaller team at a high school level. It's dangerous and it's very nuanced. I mean, everybody's like, oh, it's like rugby, but it's not.
No.
You have to have a smart offensive line to know what kind of keys to hit, when to pull, who to hit, who to follow with their linebacker shift.
Right.
It's so much. I give the teams a lot of credit for running it, but at the same time, like you said about St. John's, you can't just have your sophomore JV team go up there and say, okay, block this guy, move that way, because
Right.
you're not going to get the same effect. That's
No.
why you have the scrimmages.
Your linemen have to be real quick, too. Your
Right.
guards and your tackles all have to be able to move. And lost in the whole thing, your wingbacks / running backs, whatever you want to call them, they have to be able to hand the ball off, too, because you have the double handoff and the scissors. So it's not just the quarterback working on hand. And a handoff seems like an easy part of the game. It's not. Yeah. You remember it from high school. It's, you have to work on that constantly. And now when you have a halfback running back that's doing the handoff, make sure that exchange and that mesh is good. They do it, and they do it really well.
Reporters and PA guys hate it because you don't know who is carrying the ball.
That's true.
Wait for the pile who hands the ball back to the referee. Oh, it's 31 who carries.
Right. No, it is. It's tough, and it's tough to see. I think one of the biggest keys in this game, can Shepherd Hill get pressure on Bachalia?
Right.
They're going to have to get pressure, whether they blitz guys, however they do it, they have to get pressure on Bachalia, make him throw the ball early, because it's a pick your poison. If you let him sit back and try to cover, you're not going to be able to cover the 4 or 5 guys. Someone's going to be open. He's going to find them, so you got to pressure it. All right, we're going to move along quickly. We're going to get to BBT and Bay Path first. I know. But BBT and Bay Path, we're going to get to this one because it has an interesting little side note. You're going to tell us about Jim Archibald, the BBT coach.
Baby number 2 on the way. Matty Blood taking the reins this week. I think by the time you watch this, hopefully everything went well. The Archibald family house is a little bit louder.
Double. Yeah, they'll double in size.
Good luck to that family. I mean, trust me, you have your brood at home. You know how it is. Like
they're going to
zone
lose
coverage.
contain. Now they still can go man-to-man because it's going to be 2 in the Archibald house. The next one, you lose contain.
Matty Blood, he's got Bay Path. It's like a good warming present for him. Like, all right, I'm out. It's your team this week. Good luck stopping Bay Path.
Right.
I mean, they got Pat Dyer, who's going to be giving a lot of teams headaches. But I think Valentech's really good this year. I think they have a good defense. They've had 2 good wins in a row. I like, offense, defense working well. A lot of turnover on both sides as well. We talked about it the last couple of weeks. I think, they're going to have, it's a good test for them to find out how they're doing. They're looking like one of the favorites in that division.
Yeah, best of luck to the Archibald family. Jimmy's done a phenomenal job, and his wife is obviously a saint just to put up with the coaching schedule and all the hours they put in.
Having a baby.
Lester Millbury. Both teams coming in 3-2. This is a big one in terms of the playoff picture.
It's huge. I mean, Lester, from what I'm looking at, what that staff thinks, it's winner. If they lose, it's done.
Yep.
And they're turning in they're playing Red Rover in 4 weeks and on practice for those consolation games. I think Lester, great win over Auburn last week. They have 2 tough losses. Especially the one to Grafton the week before. They come in. I was looking at Auburn. They were looking pretty good this year. Not overwhelming, but good enough to sort of give Lester some problems.
Oh yeah.
Lester just came in. It's not too often that people thump Auburn like that.
No, at home.
No, the home is.
Ron Tarantino top game.
Emotions are really high for this. Cal
Yep.
Padini had a phenomenal coming out party of that game.
Yep.
With the 4 touchdowns, 278 yards. that's huge. I mean, that said a lot to say how much Lethbridge's back and going into
That's
the playoffs.
it. Believe it or not, we're out of time, which is crazy.
Oh, my word.
We still got more to talk about. We're out of time.
After
Coach
dark.
Richard and Millbury, you are doing a phenomenal job, too. The Woolies have won 3 in a row, so that's going to be a good one. We're out of time. For Jim Wilson, I'm Kevin Shea. The Frenzy Extra continues after this.
I'm District Attorney Joe Worley, and I'm proud to partner with Charter Communications with our pledge to help raise awareness that bullying should not be tolerated. From local school students, here is our message.
Delete cyberbullying. Don't write it. Don't forward it. Think twice what you type.
We need to foster safe environments for students in their schools and their communities. Join the anti-bully crusade. Take a stand to lend a hand. Don't be a bully.
Presented by the law offices of Joseph J. Corriglia.
Welcome back to college football now. Holy Cross coming off a tough loss to Monmouth this past weekend. It doesn't get any easier for the Crusaders as they go down to see Tony Reno's Yale team. The Bulldogs are 3-1. They're coming off a loss as well. This will be the last game for Holy Cross before they get into the meat of their Patriot League schedule, so it's a chance to try to get some momentum going into the important part of the year for Holy Cross.
Yale's very, very good this year. They're very talented. They're very aggressive in all 3 phases. So, to go out there and beat a good team like this on their home field would be a big shot in the arm moving forward with the rest of the season. It is our last non-league game, and we hope this propels us into a successful Patriot League season. So, obviously, winning games also has a lot to do with your psyche, the confidence of the team and the mindset of the team. So you want to go out there, you want to play well, and you want to pull off a win. And especially this week against a very good Yale team who's literally one play away from being 4-0. When you look at our shortcomings in the past few weeks is consistency. We're doing a lot of good things on the field in all 3 phases, and then we have some breakdowns. So it's just being able to perform or execute our assignments at a higher level, in a heated or a very crucial moment in the game. So that's something that we're emphasizing even more this week in practice, and just hopefully get that higher tempo, higher intensity.
Over at Assumption, Bob Chesney's team had a bye this week, but they improved their rankings in Division II, now 17th in the nation, and they're getting respect on a national stage. Coach Chesney says it was actually a move to take Division I teams off of the Greyhounds schedule and play more powerhouse Division II teams that have helped them grow as a program.
Us playing and getting out of that Division I game and starting to play Division II teams outside of this area was really something that I think put us on the map. That Kutztown team we played at the beginning of the year, I think, has one loss to us up to this point in time. And to watch LIU Post be ranked number 9 in the country at one point, then 23 or whatever they were, and then us be able to hang with them and beat them the way that we did, just speaks volumes again, not only about this league, but about where we're at in this league. We're certainly proud of our positioning, and I think to be known on that national level is something we had hoped for when we showed up here on day one, and to see it come to fruition now for 3 years straight speaks about this being a program, not just about a one-hit wonder or just a team that got a little lucky.
To the Frenzy Alumni Dean's List now, it starts with Scott Tupper. He's been an honoree a couple of times now. UMass Dartmouth, who we will see in a few weeks against Worcester State. Tupper had 7 solo tackles, the former Wachusett standout, and an interception against Curry. Cam Stewart playing out of Mass Maritime. He graduated from Uxbridge High School, 11 tackles to lead the team against Westfield State. Andrew Carpenter played at Auburn High School, now at Westfield State, 10 tackles against Mass Maritime. The Q, Kieran Wright, having a big year for Framingham State, the former Holy Name star, 145 yards on the ground, an additional 34 through the air, and a couple of touchdowns against Fitchburg State. Jeff Domingo, who played here at St. John's, playing at Wesleyan, 2 tackles and a sack against Colby. Isaac Yidam, he's really cranking it up right now. The Boston College secondary, he's a former Doherty star and had 5 tackles and interception against Virginia Tech. Brian Hayes playing at RPI, the former West Boylston standout, 15 tackles, led the team against Hobart. Michael Carino played here at St. John's, is at Norwich. He had 11 tackles against Merchant Marine. And Kobe Schofer out of Northbridge playing at Trinity, 10 receptions, 202 yards, receiving and a touchdown, highlight reel touchdown against Hamilton. Well, that'll do it for another week here on the Frenzy Extra from St. John's, where we'll see the Pioneers take on Shepherd Hill on Saturday on Charter TV3. We'll see you next week on Frenzy Extra, but first, we'll see you Friday night on the Frenzy. Good night.